Hi, I'm Julie, and I'm a teaching artist in puppetry. And this video is part of the Kennedy Center Education's Teaching Artists Present, where teaching artists like me lead you through activities you can do in the comfort of your own home. Today we'll be exploring tabletop puppetry. Now, I'm a puppeteer, and I've puppeteered at places like the Center for Puppetry Arts in Atlanta, Georgia, and Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. And what that means is I take puppets or objects and I move them to make them look alive. Now, you may have seen hand puppets or string puppets. Today we're making a tabletop rod puppet, which means you move it on a tabletop using rods. Today we'll be making this tabletop puppet out of 5 craft sticks for the rods. You can also use any other long, skinny object like pencils or chopsticks. You'll also need a roll of regular masking tape, a pair of scissors, and several sheets of full-size newspaper. Now, what I mean by full-size newspaper is that a full-size sheet would look like this. A half-size sheet would look like this. And a quarter-size sheet would look like this. Now you're ready to make your puppet. You'll begin by using 3 balls of newspaper for the head, the torso, and the hips. The torso is the biggest, so you'll use a full-size sheet of newspaper and you'll crumple it into a loose ball about the size of the torso. Then you'll take a half sheet of newspaper and you'll cover that. You'll wrap it just like you are wrapping a present. And you can secure it with some of your masking tape. For the hips, you'll use a half-size sheet of newspaper covered by a quarter sheet, exactly the same way that you did the torso. Only the hips are more of a potato shape. So you want them kind of wide and long. And then you'll cover them with the quarter sheet. Again, just like you're sort of wrapping a present. For the head, you'll be making another ball out of a half-size sheet of newspaper covered by a quarter size. Only this time, you want to use one of the craft sticks inside. So before you make your ball, you'll take one of your craft sticks and you'll kind of stick it inside of the newspaper as you wad it up into your ball. Now, you want this to be kind of more of an oval shape to look more like a head. Then you'll cover it with your quarter size sheet of newspaper. And you'll secure it with your masking tape. Now, make sure you use quite a bit of masking tape and wind it around the rod so that it's very secure, because you don't want your rod coming out of the head of your puppet. It'll look kind of like a newspaper candy apple, but don't eat it. Now you'll make the arms and legs out of long tubes of newspaper. You'll make those tubes by taking a half sheet of newspaper and rolling it the long way. So you want your tube to be about 1 inch in diameter, meaning about the length of a grown-up's fingertip. Then you'll take the tube and you'll secure it with 4 pieces of your masking tape. Now, once you have a secure tube, you're going to cut that tube into 4 equal pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I have a little bit left over, so you can take this little tube, secure it with some tape, and you can make 2 smaller tubes, and those can be used for the feet. You'll do the same thing and make 4 more pieces of tube to use for the arms. Now you've made all of your parts, you just need to put them together. When making a puppet, this is called jointing, and it's very important because joints are where the puppet moves, and movement is what gives a puppet life. Now for each joint, you'll need a section of what I call tape on tape, which means there'll be a part where 2 pieces of masking tape will come together with the sticky sides together, and that will make a flexible joint for your puppet. We'll do this by making the neck. So you'll take your head and your torso, and you'll take a piece of tape, and you'll start on the back. So you'll take the back, and you'll start at the rod, and you'll stick the tape down from the rod, and then you'll stick it onto the back of the torso. But you want to leave a gap. You want to leave a section of the tape that's open. Then you'll take another piece of tape and you'll stick it on the chin, and then you'll have an area where you'll stick your tape together to make tape on tape, and then you'll run that tape all the way down to about the middle of the front of the torso. Now, your puppet has a neck where there's tape on tape, and he can move his head around. To make the waist, you'll do the same thing, only you're attaching the torso to the hips. So you'll take another piece of tape, you'll go from the front of the torso down to the hips, but you'll leave a little bit of a gap right in there. Then you'll take a second piece of tape, you'll turn your puppet over, and you'll run it from the torso to the hips, but in that gap, you'll press your tape on tape together so that you now have a waist. Now for the trickiest part, knees and elbows and ankles. Now your knee and your elbow only bend one way. So to make a joint like that, you'll take 2 of your leg pieces to make the knee, and you'll lay them side by side to where they're just touching. Then you'll take 1 piece of tape and you'll lay it gently across them. Then you'll bend them where the tape is so that they're parallel or side by side. And you'll make this kind of little table shape that goes up and around like this. And you'll take another piece of tape and you'll lay it gently across to make a little tablecloth across your little table of tubes. Now you'll notice that there's a little bitty section right in here where the tape on one side will touch the tape of the other. And that's your tape on tape joint. And look, now you have a joint that only bends one way. And now you have a knee. You'll do the same thing with your arm tubes to make elbows. So you'll have 2 knees and 2 elbows. Then you just need to attach them to your torso at the shoulders and at the hips. In order to do that, you'll make another tape on tape joint, just like I showed you before. You'll take a piece of tape, make sure that the knee is bending forward because your rod is going to be coming out of the back of the head. So now you know where the front of your body is and the back. So you'll take your piece of tape, you're going to bend your knee forward, and you'll run it from the middle of the thigh to about the middle of the hip. leaving that little gap where you can run another piece of tape up the back. Press it together to make your tape-on-tape joint, and then down the back of the thigh. So now we have a leg that can bend. To make an ankle, you'll take one of your small tubes and you'll lay it against the front of your leg. Then you'll take a piece of tape, again, gently lay it across here to put them together, bend it, and you'll make your little tablecloth joint here to make your ankle. That way, you'll have an ankle that bends forward and a knee that bends back. To make your arms, you'll do exactly the same thing as you did for the knees by making that little tablecloth joint. When you attach your arms to your torso, you want to make sure that your elbow is bending in like this. And you'll attach it at the shoulder by, again, running a piece of tape along the shoulder and down the outside of the arm. And then a second piece of tape that goes kind of up the armpit, makes a tape-on-tape joint, and then down under the arm. So again, you have a little section of tape-on-tape so that your elbow can bend in and your arm can move at the shoulder. You'll do the exact same thing on the other side so that your puppet will match. Now that your puppet is all jointed, you can add the last 4 craft sticks as your rods. You'll add 2 to the bottom of the feet, and you'll secure them with pieces of masking tape, with the rod part sticking out the back. And here on the forearm, so it sticks out just above the elbow. You'll do the same on the other side. Now that you've made your puppet, you can manipulate it and make it look alive by moving the parts using the rods. You'll have one hand on the head and one hand on one of the arms if you're by yourself and you want to make your puppet touch something. Or if you're by yourself and you'd like to make your puppet walk, you can take the other hand and put it on a foot. You'll take one step with the foot and then swing the puppet forward to take a second step. If you have a friend, this is a lot easier because the friend can move both of the feet to help you walk. And if you have a second friend, they can move the other arm and help to steady the waist so that all of the parts of the puppet can move. You can bend down and pick something up. You can tell a story or maybe do a little dance. Work together to try to make your puppet look alive, and just be creative and have fun. Thank you.